Thank you for allowing me to speak today. I'm humbled to even be before a group like this. Of course, America was intended to be a very moral and religious country. We've heard the quotes already today from John Adams that our Constitution was written for a moral and religious people and would not be satisfactory for anybody else. And of course, the religion John Adams had in mind was primarily Christianity. Nevertheless, we're in a situation today in which the highest reaches of our government have almost turned against Christianity. We can see this certainly in America itself. We can see the degree to which they flood money at Planned Parenthood to undermine religious values in our schools. We can see, shoving same-sex marriage down the throats of various states, again, contrary to what your normal Christian person would believe. It's not surprising, given that our government is somewhat anti-Christian here domestically, that there would be almost a conscious abandonment of Christians abroad. And making things even worse, a lot of the problems the Christians are facing abroad were caused by stupid, foolish decisions made, not only by the Obama administration, this is not a partisan issue, by the Bush administration as well in the Middle East. I remember first hearing, must have been about 12 or 13 years ago, how, at the time it was a bishop told me this, Catholics in Iraq were fared better under Saddam Hussein than after the Americans got there, which is a total embarrassment for our country, and just a horrible thing. So I'd like to thank you for your tireless work and advocacy on behalf of the persecuted Christians in the Middle East. The previous statistics have been quoted, what's going on in Libya, what's going on in Iraq, what's going on in Syria, and nobody being worse off than the Christians. I'm also co-sponsoring Representative Rohrabacher's bill to finally maybe give preference and visas to Christians coming from this part of coming to the United States, if that's the option they want. But above all, the United States ought to raise awareness and use our military if necessary, but certainly our moral suasion to put an end to this persecution of the Christians there. And it's particularly important because, like I said, if it weren't for foolish decisions made in Syria, Iraq, or Libya, a lot of the decisions made right here in this capital, we wouldn't have the problem in the first place. There are a lot of good Christians out there, so many good Christians. It's one of the most good Bible-believing Christians is probably maybe the one good thing you can say about our country now, the one thing that makes you optimistic about the future. But too many people do not know what goes on in the Middle East, and too many Christians who are very comfortable here in the United States without any immediate risk do not realize the huge risk of their lives that Christians are going through around the world, and particularly in the Middle East. So I'd like to thank you one more time for all you're doing. When you go back, write letters to the editor, alert as many people as you can about what's going on out there. See what you can do about raising this as an issue in the current political races, because, of course, in the past, either they weren't raised as an issue or the presidential candidates who wound up winning the races didn't really seem to care enough. But I'd like to thank you all for being here. And like I said, I'm honored and humbled just to be asked to speak before you folks.